General Houghton, I have an urgent matter I need to brief you about. It can't wait, sir. It's regarding the alien communication. Oh, okay, sure. I take it you haven't already discussed this with Dr. Bergstrat. Iris Scottle looked around to confirm no one else was within earshot, then nodded discreetly. Thank you for coming directly to me. I'll meet you in conference room 4. We're still in the preliminary stages of studying the Centaurian message to Halley 1. But a few of the things are very troubling. Actually, they are terrifying, if I may be so candid. Houghton's aged brow furrowed in mounting stress at the unfolding disclosure. Deep lines on his forehead bore decades of worry and the burden of tightly held military secrets. Holding them enaged him. Tarian race, I shall eat you soon. The old man spilled his coffee upon reading the first-ever extraterrestrial telegram. It definitely wasn't the warm welcome everyone hoped for. His hand trembled, and a vein in his bulbous forehead throbbed visibly. The crude, rudimentary sentence was blunt, unapologetically intimidating, and offered very little in the way of allowing for follow-up communication. By all appearances, it gave even less hope for peace, in the general's gritty assessment. He immediately reached for his cell, and thanked his nervous informant for apprising him of the situation. Go ahead, and advise Dr. Bergstrat as you ordinarily would, Iris. Just act natural. You must not appear too suspicious, or he'll realize you're leaking intel to me. I'm curious how he plans to handle the situation, but it really doesn't matter now. The cat is out of the bag. The aliens know we exist now. And that damn introduction message we broadcast gave them a clear road map right back to Earth. I must inform the President that Nicholas' deep space field trip has led to dangerous consequences. I can't leave the United Earth Defense Forces with their pants down because the former administration had a hard-on for the patronizing SOB. Running things. We're leaving a trail of human breadcrumbs back to our door. Yikes. That's the message Halley 1 received from our brand new extraterrestrial pals. Are you sure? I would have thought they'd be able to spell better than that. Dr. Bergstrat's strange attempt at gallows humor wasn't immediately apparent to the stunned staff. The overwhelming mood to receiving a direct threat of extinction was understandably dark. They sat in uncomfortable silence for a couple minutes as the doctor cackled alone about his tongue-in-cheek jest. In spite of the harrowing situation, a few of them eventually relaxed a bit and cracked a morbid smile in solidarity. The doc certainly knew how to break up a tense situation, but the general definitely wasn't laughing about the idea of the entire human race being eaten. The old man was wound up like an overextended rubber band and ready to snap when the doctor asked AJ to offer his perspective on the cryptic correspondence. He was subtly setting the stage for AJ to occupy a more prominent role in the organization. Thankfully, General Houghton managed to rein in his rage long enough to witness what both men did best. Think outside the box. Come on, people. You're ready to declare an alien holocaust against humanity because of a one-sentence transcript. Please, people see what they want to see, I guess. If you live in perpetual fear of the unknown, then you'll translate this initial message from a different species as a horrific death threat. If you instead recognize that all beings grow and evolve in their understanding over time, then hopefully you can pull back on the paranoia. With a more open mind, you'll be able to recognize a simple linguistic error when you see one. AJ paused briefly for dramatic effect. He looked around, but stopped at the guilty smirk of old man Houghton slinking down in his chair. Nicholas grinned at AJ's confident swagger. His new protege was definitely up to the task of senior leadership. Obviously, the two of them already discussed the vague introduction privately, and had a reassuring truth bomb prepared to drop on the room full of gloomy doomsayers. Look, AJ continued. There's no M in the message, right? Everyone seems to have decided the weird spelling error is supposed to say, eat, as in, they want to eat us. That's a very negative assumption based upon fear of the unknown, and immediately adopting the worst-case scenario. Why would you go there? Nicholas stood up to piggyback on AJ's common-sense analysis. Here's an infinitely better interpretation. What does a capital E do when the character is rotated 90 degrees clockwise? It becomes an M, right? Does it make sense that non-terrestrial beings who just encountered our species and the English language for the first time might accidentally place one of the letters sideways or get the pronouns wrong? It's no different than when children reverse or mirror certain letters while learning how to write. That explanation seemed to reassure most of his worried staff, but a few of them, including the general, were still on the fence. The doc was prepared for that skepticism and unveiled their second correspondence, received only 45 minutes earlier. You're excited to learn of your name species. The same uppercase E character rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise also makes a W, as in we and new. Makes sense now, General. At this point, we would be hard-pressed to compose anything intelligible in their language, so these minor errors are perfectly understandable. That is, if we even knew their language at all. It's ludicrous to automatically jump to the worst possible conclusion, with so little to go on. The obvious focus of the lecture was on the old man and his fearful flock of followers. All eyes were upon him for being the oppositional ringleader, but he wasn't alone in his suspicious views. Several others on the doctor's staff were experts at their jobs, but failed to endear the optimistic spirit needed to forge a path ahead. The glass-half-full speech was for them too. The hope was to inspire everyone to embrace a more open faith-based mindset and work toward the same common goal of unity. It's genuinely humbling to recognize the minuscule microcosm we occupy as part of an infinitely larger universe. Some of us, however, aren't handling that realization too well. We want to see ourselves as the absolute center of the universe, but we aren't. As proven conclusively today, we aren't even alone in our exploration of space, and there will definitely be others. No doubt about that. The probability of encountering hostile species may be just as high or higher than discovering friendly alien partners who want to collaborate peacefully in unraveling the mysteries of our origins. I will openly acknowledge that today, but I'm asking everyone here in this room to keep an open mind. Try to give the other life forms we discover along the way the benefit of the doubt. Can we all do that? Houghton finally reached his breaking point. He could no longer suppress his disdain for the willful embrace of risk. His occupation was founded upon the leading assumption that those across the proverbial aisle had suspicious, ulterior motives. They were not to be trusted because their own interests conflicted directly with ours. He wasn't wired to give the benefit of the doubt. Nicholas and AJ's little pep rally hadn't swayed his hardened worldview one single iota. If anything, it cemented it more. What happens when you are dead wrong about one of them? Bergstat. Will you finally regret not regarding the considerable potential for malice in alien species we bump into as a naive character flaw on your part? It only takes a single error in judgment to potentially exterminate the human race. No, sir. We can afford to blindly trust any species we meet out there in the cold recesses of outer space. It's madness and foolhardy. I love our planet and people too much to allow that to happen. It's interesting you say that, General. In no way do I doubt your commitment to the Earth or its people. Not in the least. That's why you were assigned to this mission a decade ago. Your job is to protect. That's what you do. Maybe I am naive. I can step outside my own confidence and acknowledge that my unapologetic feelings of hope could cause a blind spot to legitimate danger. That's why I'm erring on the side of caution and assigning you to be our official Centauri ambassador. I've decided to trust your judgment about whether we should partner with them or not. Iris Garhill will be your second in command. You could have heard a pin drop as the unexpected announcement stunned the entire assembly. No one was more shocked than Houghton himself. He fully expected to be dismissed and court-martialed for finally putting his disagreement cards on the table. Instead, he was being trusted to meet and handle the diplomatic affairs of the first-ever meeting with the very species he doubted. It didn't add up. The bold, incomprehensible move by the doctor felt surreal and insincere, but didn't come across as actually parsable. It appeared to be a symbolic gesture of revenge and a creative overture to embarrass him in front of his silent supporters. He was about to stand up and verbally concede the moral victory to Nicholas when the complete mission plan was laid out. I've been working on the next stage of our ambitious project, and there's no two better choices than you and Iris to officially represent the Earth to the Centauris. The President has already greenlit your involvement. Since both of you have outspoken misgivings but are also duty-bound professionals, you can neutralize our potential to underestimate the risks. The General was at a rare loss for words. He could only look down in bewilderment. His chess opponent had outmatched him at every turn. Any opposition verbalized in front of the team after repeatedly advocating for greater caution in dealing with alien species would come across as backtracking. The political optics would eternally paint him to be a coward if he didn't graciously accept this prestigious honor, assigned by the president himself. Checkmate. He was done for. We have triangulated where the alien broadcast originated from and have calculated a convenient intersection point. Ordinarily, a space journey of that magnitude would take hundreds of years, but through the use of the Hyperion wormhole and beneficial overlapping nexus points, your flight will only take a little over 4 years. Your state-of-the-art spacecraft will be ready to launch in only 5 weeks. Congratulations to both of you.